The views and opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast represents each person's individual experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. My Story Living with Lupus podcast is officially trademarked, all rights reserved. Thank you for joining me for another episode of My Story Living with Lupus. I'm your host, Susan Hendricks, and I'm so glad that you could join me on this Friday, February 14th, 2020. Happy Valentine's Day. Today's show is all about the what ifs in life. That's right. So you know what I want you to do. Grab your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, and to those who are listening late at night, you know I appreciate you. So grab your favorite glass of wine and join the conversation right here on My Story Living with Lupus. Ophthalmology Associates, PC, Drs. Berman and Dr. Zuckerbrod, treating diseases of the eye and eye surgery. You can reach them at 313-341-3450. Thank you for coming back and joining me for the what ifs in life. You know, I was sitting in our upstairs den. I had the lights off, and my sister walked in and asked, why was I sitting here in the dark? Now, I explained to her that I was just thinking, but in actuality, I was centering myself. She asked me, what are you thinking about? And I simply replied to her, what if? And she said, what if what? Now, as I got up to exit out of the den, I asked her, have you ever contemplated on the what ifs in life? She looked at me. She said, that's deep. And she said, I've never thought about the what ifs in life. But now you're going to get me to think about the what ifs in life. So I want you to truly understand how long I have been dealing with the illness lupus. It has been since the age of 5. So in reality, it has been 54 years. But I was not clinically diagnosed until 2004. And as a child, and now that I'm older and wiser, I never thought about the what ifs. I remained a stubborn child and a determined child to just live my life to the fullest, even though, I was sick as a child. No, my childhood was not what the professionals call a normal childhood, but it was normal to me as a child. No, I couldn't go outside until the sun went down. And then I went outside and played until the street lights came on. And then I was back in the house. But as I stated, I'm older now. And I thought about while going through high school and in college, if I ever let the words, what if I can't make it? What if I'm just ready to give up? My body is tired. I never thought about that. I was too determined, and in actuality, my parents were too protective of me based on me being ill. Even people that I had went through all the way to grade school and high school with, they never knew that I was sick. And, they recently found out when I told it on my Facebook page that, I had lupus. And so one of my high school girlfriends stated, "Susan, you were sick when we were in school?" I said, "Yes." But no one ever knew. No. Because I kept it moving forward. But now when I state to you, my listening audience, what if? What ifs? They are as boundless as the stars. Doesn't help to waste your time thinking about would have beens. You can no longer afford to deal with the would have beens. See, I consider the would have beens the past, lost in time, something that can never be regained back. But, and this is directed to my listeners who are from the age of 16 to, let's say, 29. Have you ever said, "What if?" Or have you said, "But what if you..." Well, let me put it this way. We all know people talk about us. And some people take the things that other people say to heart. Now, no one can live your life for you. It's your life. And if you worry about what people say about you, you will continue to be in that what if mode. What if someone said, ladies, what if someone said something about your makeup? You would take that to heart? If you like it, that's all that matters. Your life is your life, and letting others' thoughts and opinions influence, that is detrimental only to you. Now, say for instance, if you're living in a small town, has taught you anything, it's that people are going to talk about you no matter what you are doing. So just do what makes you happy. Don't let idle gossip cripple your lifestyle. Have you ever stated, what if I traveled to places I had always dreamed of seeing? Do you catch yourself saying that? I'll go to Jamaica, London, Athens, Venice, or maybe even Disney World one day, as if the future is promised to you. But it's not. See, the places you want to see, as soon as you can, take chances. Go on spontaneous road trips. Travel. Experience. See the world and discover along the way who you are and what you love. Am I getting you to thinking? Have you ever stated, what if I would have faced my fears? You see, your fears can keep you from trying many things. So why not force yourself to face them? Perhaps in bravery of doing so, you would learn more about yourself and even become less afraid. Don't allow your fears still have their hold on you. And I doubt you would want to either. So push yourself, even if you become a sobbing mess in the process. You will become stronger and show yourself that you can do anything. When I return, I'll return with some more what ifs. So stay with me. The Charlie E. and Minnie P. Hendricks Foundation for Chronic Illness Awareness. See one, reach one, educate one to empower the masses, giving hope and empowering those who suffer from chronic illness. You can reach the foundation at 313-303-9217 or visit their website at https://CEMPHfoundation.com. This is a 501c3 organization. No one should live in lack. If you would like to appear on an episode of My Story Living with Lupus, you can contact us at mystorylivingwithlupus@gmail.com. Also visit us on our Instagram page and also our website, My Story Living with Lupus. Now, while we were on break, I received a call from my daughter asking me, what if she couldn't do a particular project? And I replied to her, what if you could? And I told her, I've always taught you that you can do anything that you set your mind to. So, what if you went back into your office and knocked that project out? What would you do then? And she stated to me, I know, I just needed for you to give me that extra push. And so I explained to her this way, what if one day that I am no longer here for you to pick that phone up and call me for that little extra push? Have you ever thought about that? And she replied and she said, yes, I've thought about it. I said, so what are you going to do about it? She replied and stated, I'm going to do like you taught me, to go for it. And I said, that's right. I said, it's in you. And I taught you not to let your fears and the what ifs enter your head. You're too smart for that. So, getting back to the what ifs in life. Have you ever sat down and stated, what if I didn't waste time on things that don't matter? Now, does your Twitter or your Facebook or Instagram feed really matter at the end of the day? Put your phone aside, turn your TV off, and spend time doing something that is actually meaningful to you. You won't remember what that random person posted on Instagram 2 days from now, but you will remember the memories you make many, many years down the road. What if you were lying in a hospital bed and you were really sick and the thought came in your head, what if I had spoken up? What if I had asked the questions? What if I only listened to what my gut was telling me to do? What if? You do not want to be in a hospital bed with what ifs running through your mind. Now, let me ask you this. What if we all understood that life is to be lived regardless of any situation that we come across? You have to excuse the hoarseness in my voice. With these thoughts in mind, permit me to introduce you to a little big word that should challenge every last one of you to think. If. The little big word. Little in that it is only 2 letters in length. Big in that it can make the difference. Do you get where I'm trying to lead you to? Or do you still think about, what if I had taken another turn in life? What would have happened? What if you made it up in your mind today that you will begin to take control over your situations and get up and live your life to the fullest? Now, every time I travel. My family always asks me, what if you get sick? And I say, what if I don't? I said, I cannot live my life in fear because of this illness. I travel, and the group of people I travel with, yes, they know I have an illness. Yes, they know what to do if I should get sick. So, what if you today make it up in your mind that you release the word what if and start doing everything you want to do? You see, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. We have to live for today. So, what will you do? Will you stay in that what if mode? Or will you say, let's go, I'm ready. Face your fears. Speak. Ask questions. Go with your gut feeling. And most importantly, no more what ifs. Just want to send a big shout out to all my listeners in Canada. Thank you so much for tuning in to my story, Living with Lupus. You can follow me on social media on IG at I am Lupus, Twitter at story_lupus, YouTube, My Story Living with Lupus, and Periscope, Susan Hendricks, My Story Living with Lupus. I hope that I got you, my listeners, thinking. But let me ask you this before I go, because by the time you're listening to this podcast, I will be in the endocrinologist's office. What if I told you, my listeners, that you matter to me? Yes, each and every one of you. You matter because I want you to become educated about your condition. I want you to not fear your doctors. I want you to know just because you have an illness, don't allow that illness to stop you from living your life. I want you, my listeners, to use your voice to ask questions. Yes, you matter to me. That's why I do what I do each and every week, because you matter. I want you to have a most enjoyable, peaceful, positive weekend. but most importantly, live your life to the fullest. I'm Susan Hendricks for my story, Living with Lupus. I'll see you next week. views and opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast represents each person's individual experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. My Story Living with Lupus podcast is officially trademarked, all rights reserved.